Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew. I've seen recently that there are plans, unless they're already, I can't keep track of all the new books that come out, that Wolverine's going to have adamantium armor, just as his adamantium claw is the same stuff. And for one thing, I just don't get it. I don't see the point. I mean, it's like a cool thing to look at, but I just wouldn't know. For one thing, the armor looks like it would hold Wolverine back. And Wolverine's a pretty friggin' badass on his own. I mean, he's got that healing factor. That's the thing. His healing factor is his armor. You know what I'm saying? It's like he already had. In fact, I think he was one of the first characters who had a rapid healing factor. Well before Deadpool and some other characters. I could be wrong. But this just seems a little weird. And if you're going to wear armor, might as well cover that mouth, because if I'm fighting Wolverine in that outfit, I'm going for the mouth. I'm going for the exposed areas. So adamantium used to be like a real special product that was hard to find and very, very crazy. And this, I just don't get it. It's just weird. And, it is cool, but I just don't, for a story reason, I don't get it. Unless he was in outer space and had to fight Galactus or something. But Wolverine's been a friggin' badass. They've taken down much more powerful big bads than you would think. I had a friend where I used to work who, this was after Dark Phoenix, and then there was people kind of forgot there was a story called Dark Storm back when Dave Cockrum came back to X-Men. It was just right after he got back, and Storm was claustrophobic. She was locked in this castle, and she freaked out, and she, blew the roof off the sucker. And then she had this, she had these glowing eyes, and she was turning into a Phoenix-like character. So, which was really cool, and I'm kind of surprised he never went back to that, because I really like that. I mean, not on a regular basis, but. So my friend was like, "Oh, they ought to do a dark Wolverine." I'm like, "Well, I don't know. He's pretty dark as he is." No, like Dark Storm, Dark Phoenix, Dark Wolverine. See what he could do. And I was like, I think he'd pretty much be the same. He's not exactly warm and cuddly. So that's all. I mean, it seems absurd, but whatever. I mean, will he ever take it off again? Because if you want full protection, you might as well. Walk around and clankety clank. This one's one of the worst, probably the worst transgression. Booster Gold, created by Dan Jurgens in the 80s, who grew in popularity, joined the Justice League. He had a skin-tight body suit that was supposed to be armor, but he ended up in Extreme Justice, and it was a spin-off title from Justice League America. And Extreme Justice was such a funny title, because back then it was like everything was extreme. Yeah, man. I think it started with skateboarding. It was like, yeah, to the extreme. And it's like, yeah, drink this extreme Powerade, extreme that. Yeah. And it's like, so we got treated to this goofy-ass armor that really adds nothing. It's extremely generic. It was just time to find out what this armor can do. Well, it can embarrass you, Here we go. Here's an early one that might throw you. It threw me. I'd kind of forgotten about this. But this is in 88 or 89, but Hawkeye armored up. And not that interesting. His original costume was much better. And the West Coast Avenger costume was great. He's got the Iron Man kind of segmented gauntlets. And it's just dumb. But what happened is he was in Los Angeles, and he got involved in some street gang situation. He got shot, like big time, and so he armored up. And he eventually learned that he wasn't cut out to do street crime. He was better off being an Avenger, because he couldn't. I don't know. He just didn't. He couldn't. It was all too much for him, I guess. So he thought, well, I'll hope to go save the planet. Maybe that'll help. But that's so dumb. And it didn't last too long, thankfully. That's a funny thing. Is like, well, they were quick get rich quick schemes. All these books, and then but some of them made sense. Like, well, Batman Punisher. There's actually two versions of this. The other one was with Chuck Dixon and John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson, but this was DC's version, which was done by Barry Kitson. This guy John Ponvalli, who was what was his name? Azrael, created by Joe Quesada. A fantastic design. And what happened is Bruce Wayne got his back broken by Bane, and this guy took over. And I could see why he had that armor, because he had that armor as Azrael. I mean, it was cool for like a little bit, but then after a while, people were getting turned off to it. So the DC, the crew kind of put their heads together. It's like, well, how do we resolve this? Because we were going to make the story last longer, but then it all worked out because, he became Batman for a while. It was pretty wacky. Captain America. This is sort of an infamous one, but it had a story to it. Captain America found out that. So this is like, let me think. Blah 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 blah. Let me see. It's like the 50th anniversary of Captain America at this time, and what happened was the super soldier serum that made him Captain America back in 1940. After all these years, it started deteriorating, and it was tearing apart his insides and his body in general. So he had. This was to keep him alive, essentially. But he only had 24 hours or 48 hours or something before he died. But he had a mission to do, so he ended up, wearing this thing to protect him. That eye slit's so weird. But I know it's supposed to it's a storytelling device, because when you look at someone's eyes, it does help show an expression. But it's not the greatest, but I understand why. But it was yet another thing. That was kind of the infamous Babidoo. Let me think. Well, I gotta go this way. I'm going the wrong way. Then there's Moon Knight. Diddle-doo, diddle-doo. Feels right. So that was his armor, and it's interesting. However, same exact story. The same exact story was written. Where Moon Knight, he was deteriorating internally, and let me see, that's him swinging about, and Gary Kwapis on the pencils and ink by Tom Palmer. I like it a lot. I think Gary Kwapis is a really good artist, and reason Mark Spector's wearing it is because he's dying as well. He's got this kind of skin thing going on. And he had the armor for a long time. Now, the only thing is, this was a big mistake by the writer. I think it was Terry Kavanaugh or something. I don't know. Let me see. Whatever. He wrote for a long time, and anyway, Moon Knight does not fly. He has to glide. He can only jump off buildings using his cape to glide, and he's really good at doing it. But he's got all that armor on him. It's like, no. He would sink. He would sink like a stone. So that's just absurd. It's just goofy. So let me think. I have. Oh, there we go. Of course, this one too. I think it was designed by Alex Saviak, the usual artist. I love the way it looks, but I mean, it was like he made this armor just to fight these super powerful villains, and he's never needed to do it before, and he hasn't done it since. It's like, this is a guy who would take on the Sinister Six, in a crowded room, and so he really didn't need that armor, and it started falling apart later in the issue, so he never went back to it. Yeah, these guys here. Yeah, but it's like, come on now. And his armor's starting to come apart. Against the Eel, he's like the biggest punching bag in Marvel history. I love his character. Night Watch, a total knockoff on Spawn, just sort of tweak McFarlane. It's kind of funny. And because I said so. Hold on. Then there's Smash Cut to Thor by Walt Simonson. As pretty much everyone has said, I agree, and, probably the second best Thor era since Stan and Jack. In a lot of cases, it's better because the first few years of Thor were a real mess. They didn't know how to handle him. They gave him, they had him fight like, commie dictators and stuff, and there wasn't a whole lot of proper attention given to like the Norse mythology. There was in like the backup stories, but he gets Thor gets a spell against him by Hela because he defied her one time too many, and he will regret he ever set his foot in hell. And later on, Tony Stark comes up with this brace for Thor's arm. What happened is Hela's spell was making it made his bones brittle. So he would fight, but the more he fought, the more he deteriorated. And that's also another thing that happened a couple of these issues. But then finally, friggin' badass. This is before any of... this is before Cap, this is before Moon Knight, but that's just so glorious. I can't figure out... I mean, the design is just out of this world. It's still great. I wanted to buy a bust of this version of Thor on eBay, but it's pretty pricey. So anyway, that's it. I think I've covered all the armors. Covered up in armor. These are great to work out with. How many reps can I do with Walt Simonson? We'll find out one day. Maybe not. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you later. Please click like and subscribe below, and hit the bell for notifications, and subscribe, and then also leave comments below. I may have forgotten some of them, and which were your favorites, which ones were your least favorites. Just go crazy. There's no limit to comments. I never delete a comment, even if I disagree with something. Hey, I don't care. We're not here to fight. We're here to rock and roll, baby. So that's it. Talk to y'all later.